George Lucas?
Yes, it's me, child.
Why do you sound like that?
I don't have much time, but you must watch it.
Huh?
You know what I'm referring to.
What? No, I don't want to. What are you doing in my house?
Watch it.
No.
And I'll give you a lightsaber.
No. What?
After you watch it.
Why?
Because.
Because why?
Because.
What?
All will make sense once you've watched it.
But wait, George, I don't understand.
Watch it.
What? Hi, Stinkies, and welcome to my backyard. My name is Disney, and you're watching Channel. I don't know why I went Australian, but I did. The Acolyte, the show that'll finally bring Star Wars back to its former glory. I mean, the High Republic era in live action, that should be a slam dunk. It's a time of peace with a bunch of Jedi, and then a mysterious assassin comes up and starts killing Jedi? That sounds freaking awesome, dude. And we get a little bit of that, but we also get a whole lot of other stuff, too. And I must be a masochist or something, because I watched this not once, but twice. There's nothing left up here. And before I become yet another person on the internet to complain and make jokes about this show, I want to preface this by saying I'm not the biggest diehard fan of Star Wars who knows the canonical moment Chewbacca farts on screen in The Empire Strikes Back at timestamp 1758. So don't look it up. I'm just a guy who enjoys watching Star Wars because shiny laser sword and pool noodle. But I also like an entertaining show. Which this is not. The Acolyte is an 8-episode series and is the brainchild of Leslie Headland, who is known for such projects like Single Drunk Female, Pink and Blue, Finding the Asshole Chapter 3, Russian Doll, and a few others that actually don't have terrible reviews. If for some reason you haven't seen The Acolyte and want to, honestly, power to you, then consider this your goiter divorcing spoiler warning. So pause the video, go watch it, and when you stop watching because you don't want to finish it, you're welcome to come back here. In fact, do, please, come back. You better come back. And welcome back. You're just in time for my retelling of The Acolyte. Alright, so the show takes place 100 years before The Phantom Menace, and we're introduced to May, who's this, secret Force user assassin lady, and she's really mad at this Jedi. So she kills her with this baby knife, which is canonically more lethal than a lightsaber. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. And when the Jedi hear about this murder, they arrest May's twin sister Osha instead. So the Jedi take her on their ship, which... Nope, they put her on a separate prisoner ship, which then crashes on a snowy planet, and Osha dies, and... No, wrong about that too. Jeez, my brain just wants to make stuff up today. Anyway, Osha's former Jedi Master, Sol, who's like a father to Osha, but only to Sol, finds Osha on this snowy planet and escorts her onto his ship. And May gets to see a red lightsaber. Luckily for Osha, May tries to kill another Jedi she's mad at, so she's innocent now. Yippee! But May doesn't succeed in killing this Jedi, so she goes and gets some poison from her bestie, Chimere. And they're like BFFs. What's my source? Trust me, bro. But instead of killing the Jedi herself, the Jedi who wakes up from a 10-year nap says, screw it, I'll kill myself. And then he does. Sol springs a little trap for May to, arrest her, but then proceeds not to do that, and May escapes, but not until after finding out that Osha is alive. Oh yeah, both sisters think the other is dead. Then we get to see a Wookiee, and he's a Jedi. Wow, now I can't wait to see the next episode. Oh, you thought we were going to see the Wookiee this episode, but nope, we're going back 16 years and completely derailing the pacing. So it turns out, May and Osha have had the same hairstyle for 16 years, and they live with a coven of witches and are about to do this ceremony.
The power of many.
The Jedi show up, and holy shit! Those are the same Jedi that May is mad at in the future. Sorry, the Jedi show up and have Osha and May take this Jedi test, which May's like, nah, but Osha's like, I'm all about that life. So May, being mad at Osha, starts a fire on the most flammable resource known to the galaxy, and May falls to her death while Osha gets saved by Sol. Oh, nope, my bad, not fall to her death, she just fell. So now we get to see Osha as a Padawan because, oh, nope, we're just back to present day. And May is also really mad at this Wookiee Jedi, but because she saw her sister earlier, she's like, nah, revenge is for chumps. I'm gonna go and turn myself into the Wookiee Jedi so I can see Osha and we can be together. But shit, he's dead. Osha and the Jedi get there, but uh-oh, so does the red lightsaber man. Ah. The red lightsaber man kills literally everyone, except for the main characters, and is revealed to be Chimere, May's BFF. What a twist. But not nearly as much of a twist as Osha killing him. Then May knocks out Sol, and after a couple words, she knocks out her sister, who, she abandoned the whole revenge thing for. Okay. And then she poses Osha and goes with Sol. Revenge quest is back on, baby! And Osha is left to die. Oh, never mind. Chimere's not dead, and he saves her. Unknown planet. Osha watches Chimere get naked, and then she gets a little mad because she admits that she left the Jedi because, she failed, and then she stares into the abyss. May, on the other hand, kills Sol because he's the only Jedi left that she's mad at, and... Oh. Nope, she doesn't do that. I guess she doesn't do anything. But Sol certainly blasts her into last year when he realizes that she's not Osha. Man, this plot is getting heavy. We'd better rewatch episode 3 to recharge, but this time, we get to see Sol kill a demon, except that demon is Osha and May's mom. And those singing witches possess the Wookiee Jedi, and he kills Sol and the other Jedi in his mind, because he certainly doesn't do that here. Then the other Jedi saves Wookiee Jedi, which kills all of the witches because they didn't have a VPN. And we see that Sol has insufficient skill points to unlock the skill that allows him to force lift the girls and, let May not die, but also die. Now that we're recharged, let's resume where we left off. Why are her eyes red? Well, because she used her UAV kill streak and got pinned May's location on her home planet. May escapes Sol and dies in the crash, except she doesn't. Everyone then starts fighting each other, and then Osha kills Sol because he admits to killing her demon mom, except he doesn't mention the demon part, and then Chimere wipes May's memory because why not? And he and Osha live happily ever after, because Osha is bad now. Meanwhile, the Green Jedi blames all the killings on Sol because she can't let everybody know a Sith is still out there. It'll ruin her political image, and she won't be able to run for president. And that's the Acolyte, except probably less time-consuming and less boring. So, before I dive into the stinky things, I wanted to quickly talk about some of the non-stinkies. For starters, and most would agree, the action was pretty cool. The fights were fast-paced and creative, and they really kept you entertained and interested, unlike the rest of the show. Though, when I first watched the Jedi and Chimere fight, I was a little annoyed by Chimere's ability to short out every lightsaber like 1,000 times, but I guess this is something that was established in books and comics, so honestly, hats off to Leslie for that, I suppose. It was pretty cool. And speaking of lightsabers, they had yellow blades and a light whip. Wow! Now you can wield an even more dangerous version of the lightsaber. But honestly, I'm a huge fan of the yellow lightsaber, so I was really happy to see them here, even though I do wish they were, in a better show. And lastly, I thought there was a lot of really cool cinematography moments, some cool shots and stuff. Except Coruscant. Not really sure what happened there. Compared to the prequels, this is boring as hell. Anyway, now the stinky parts. What the hell were these characters doing? Their motivations are either non-existent, extremely flawed, or all over the place. I mean, let's take Osha for example. How does the main character of your show not have motivation for the whole show? The plot just happens to her. Sure, when she was younger, she wanted to leave the witches or whatever and become a Jedi, but 10 years after that, she leaves the Jedi because sad? And this all happens off screen, mind you. Then, 6 years after that, the Jedi arrest her, and when she's proven innocent, she's still with the Jedi when they go to capture May, and so she just has to tag along. She's just a little passenger princess of the plot. Afterwards, she actually does make a decision to leave Coruscant until Sol asks her to go with him to find the Wookiee, and then from there, May knocks out Osha, and she is abducted by Chimere. Then she has a little vision of herself who she thinks is May, and goes to her home planet to, stop Sol from dying from what she saw in her vision. Then she kills Sol, and it just becomes the pupil to Chimere because she's a Sith now? This isn't motivation, this is convenience for the plot. Do the writers think this is entertaining? The reason characters like Luke and Anakin work is because of their motivations and goals. Luke wants more from life, and he makes deliberate choices to get there. And because of the choices he makes, he ends up destroying the Death Star, becoming a Jedi, and becoming a beacon of hope to the entire galaxy. We as viewers want to cheer for the protagonist to get what they want. Not because something happens, because the plot wants it to happen.
But Josh, Chimere has a motivation for the whole show.
True, but it's not a fully developed motivation if you as the viewer can't answer the question of why they want what they want. The show doesn't give us enough to work with. Like, we know Chimere wants the power of two, but we don't know why he wants the power of two, so it makes it really hard to understand the extent of his desperation to find a pupil. Also, why does Chimere want a pupil who kills without a weapon? That is genuinely never explained other than power of two. And Homie is desperate for a pupil, like, obsessive. Wait, that's been the shot the whole time? May also has motivation, but it jumps all over the place, which is confusing as shit. She wants revenge on the Jedi, which makes sense from her perspective, but when she finds out Osha is alive, she ditches the revenge thing, which could work if the show showed us anything more than the girls hating each other. And when May screws over Osha and steals her identity, it further cements that they do not like each other, but the show still insists that they love each other. Actions speak louder than words. She then resumes the whole I want to kill the Jedi motivation, except she doesn't kill Sol when she has every single opportunity to do so, which doesn't line up with what the show has told us her character wants. Anyways, trying to understand her motivations gave me an ulcer. It's just a bummer because these characters could be so good if the show would actually just show us who these characters are and what they want and expanded their relationships in a meaningful way instead of word vomiting all over the place. Which brings me to my next issue. Why did this show not show us more? All throughout the show, we're told important character information or plot details which could easily be overlooked, and because of it, it makes the show boring and sound like an audiobook of the dictionary. Again, the show wants us to believe that Osha and May had an incredible relationship, but all we're shown and told is of them fighting or generally hating each other. Osha even says, I don't want to share with May. Yet the show treats the reunion moments like we're supposed to care. We don't. You haven't shown the sisters being loving or actually being sisterly to each other. Oh my goodness, they know a little poem and quote it together. Is that supposed to make me care? Also, some important details are just thrown away in lines you could easily miss. For instance, how did May survive that fall 16 years ago? Oh, well, she says this vent pulled her in. But if you're not paying attention 100% of the time, which, let's face it, you're not, you're gonna miss that bit of knowledge. They easily could have just shown May's fall through a flashback or something, but no, the show has to be mysterious. I think where the whole tell don't show thing is most frustrating, though, is with Osha's history as a Jedi. Like, we're told that she left the Order 6 years ago because she failed, and based on more words, we know that there's a history between her and Yord, you know, the guy with the hair, and also Sol, which we already knew, but there's more history there. Wouldn't it have been more effective to actually show that period of her life so we could, learn more about her and Yord and Sol's relationship with her? No? We're just gonna throw away lines that sound more interesting than this whole show? Okay. How can we care about these characters when it feels like the writers are blocking us out? It's like trying to become friends with someone who says, dang, that reminds me of that time I fought, donuts in space. But when you ask to learn more, they just talk about how crazy it is that Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom, and then they just act like you guys are best friends now, even though you know nothing about them except that they're schizophrenic. They could be a serial killer, but you'll never know, because you'll be dead. The show just wastes so much time, telling us about all sorts of things instead of actually showing us anything of substance. Almost every episode feels like nothing happens, even though a lot of stuff is said. Sure, you can't show everything, which, that makes sense, that's totally okay. But at least show us some stuff that actually drives the plot and develops characters. Don't just give us cameos and expect us to be happy. Speaking of, I know you're all wondering why I haven't addressed the elephant in the room. Why haven't I talked about Basil? Well, honestly, because he's a little shit, and I hate him. I hate him. He's just a plot device. Okay, obviously, Ki-Adi-Mundi showing up and some others has pissed some people off, which I think, given the context of the audience approval ratings, is completely valid. Truly, the last thing you want in a show you don't like is for your favorite characters to show up and become worse because of it, or alter already established canon. I mean, like I've said before, I'm not a lore historian and all the books and the comics and all of that, but I do know a couple things. Like, if this baseball card is to be believed, then Ki-Adi-Mundi showed up before he was even born. Which, I mean, his birth date isn't really the issue here, and if you are mad about his birth date, then you can continue crying about it because, dude, it's just a birthday. It's not that deep. The primary issue is what Ki-Adi-Mundi himself says in The Phantom Menace.
Impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
And unfortunately for the canon, he is made aware of May and that she has a master who is implied to be a Sith, so now he just looks like a massive dumbass 100 years later. Even I picked up on that continuity error when I first watched this. The other two big cameos are of course Yoda and Plagueis, which I mean, their cameos aren't massive train wrecks, but they do pose some questions. Based on what has already been established with Yoda, we know he is extremely in tune with the Force, so did he just turn off the Force when Chimere killed those Jedi? Or is he just like gaslighting himself? Like, there's no way he would just believe the other Green Jedi when they say Soul killed everyone. Am I the crazy one? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And my main thing with Plagueis is, why is he there? Like, did we really just make Plagueis' first live-action appearance a cheap cameo cop-out? Where he's just being a creep? I don't know, it just seems like the writers were so preoccupied with whether or not they could bring these characters in that they didn't stop to think if they should. I know that's a different franchise reference, but shut up. And if the show hadn't included these characters, would anybody really be sad? My guess is no, but who cares about continuity and consistency, am I right? We have Plagueis and Basil in live action. Ultimately, I think The Acolyte is a huge mess. It does seem like Leslie really is a big Star Wars fan, but in her efforts to, throw in as many cool ideas and create a show that's deep and mysterious, she ended up with an unfocused, confusing, and boring show, which is breaking the 11th commandment in my book. It's just such a shame because the High Republic era could have been so cool, especially if it just focused on this mysterious Jedi killer without all of the time jumps and pacing roadblocks. But nope, instead we get some sisters that I have no reason to care about, needlessly shirtless men, and singing witches. There are genuinely a lot of really cool ideas here, and though I don't want a season 2, a potential second season could be potentially a lot better than this one. Which isn't saying much, but the issue with another season is that they've already made these characters really uninteresting. So if they did release a season 2, and it was potentially a 10 out of 10, I, and many others, probably wouldn't even give it the time of day because of our experience with this one. Basically, Star Wars, please actually proofread your scripts your creators make before approving them and spending $180 million.
You have done well, my little Ewok.
Don't you knock?
You have brought peace, justice, and security to my new empire.
Your new empire? Why are you in my kitchen?
This reminds me of the time I arm wrestled Harrison Ford, and he told me the funniest joke I've ever heard while using a silly voice.
Harrison Ford used a silly voice? Wait, tell me more.
Robert Downey Jr. being Dr. Doom is crazy. Anyways, as promised, bestie.
What the? This is a TV remote.
Press the power button.
What? Oh. Whoa.
Love you like a son.
Oh no. Oh no. I just got those. Hey, Gooners. I just cut off my balls. So if you could please like the vid. How does it hurt when there's nothing there? Yeah, so please like the video and share it to all your friends named Harry. Oh God, oh God. Oh. I'm fine. I'm fine. So please subscribe and click the bell to get notified of this. Nope. I can't do it. Okay, bye. This is why I can't have nice things. The lightsaber will cut him off. Oh God.